Someone asked me the other day, how many homes have you built? It would be well in excess of 10,000, more than likely 12 to 13,000. So it's a pretty good sized city that we've built.
Saturday morning, 5 o'clock, he is out driving the job sites, and he still does it at 72.
One time I driving through a site up in the northeast, and honest to God, it's 4 in the morning, and here comes another vehicle around the corner if it isn't Cal.
There's 39 points that the guys look for. You look at the plumbing, is that neatly done?
He's a great people person, and he really does relate to every trades and supplier. He's there with a very friendly smile and a big hand to help you.
He wants to make sure that things are going along well, and he's got a list of questions as he goes out there.
You know, when you look around at older subdivisions, you say, I built that, I built that, I built that. You know, of course, you're proud of it. I grew up in Medicine Hat, actually, which was a nice little town of about 20,000 people at the time. I didn't come from a well-to-do family. My mother was a stay-at-home mom, but she was a seamstress. She used to make the most beautiful bridal gowns you've ever seen.
My grandfather was a mechanic by trade, but when he finished up working during the day, in the evenings, he'd go and he'd build basements out of cinder blocks in Medicine Hat. He'd bring my father and his brother along to do that with him.
Somebody says to me, do you know how to build a house? Yes, I did.
From what I know of him as a kid, he was a constant go-getter. He was a sports kid. He was always doing something.
I had the largest paper route in Medicine Hat. I had 150 papers. You know that Mrs. Sullivan still owes me 25 cents down there? And I still remember, I'll never forget her till the day I die. She didn't pay me, she stiffed me. I met her in a bar, believe it or not.
He walked through and came over with the old line, haven't we met somewhere before? And it was so...
And we can't repeat what she said. But anyway, she did leave me sit down, and so I got to meet her that way.
It was a challenge. My mother, Edith, she wasn't going easy.
We actually got married down Medicine Hat.
I was the oldest girl. Shane came along later, so he was the baby of the family.
He makes sure that we're all taken care of. If something's wrong, I mean, Cal's the first one to make a phone call and ensure that everything's okay. We started in 1979, but I always make the joke that Cal is still sleeping with our first customer.
I bought his first 2 duplexes, but it happened to be when the interest rate was 19%.
So she figured, I'll give the guys an opportunity to build me a revenue property.
We had to do a lot of work on them ourselves, which we did.
A little funny thing happened when we were building a deck. We were both on the deck laying down the floor and tap, tap, tap away, and I couldn't hear Cal working. He was working behind me. He had fallen off the deck, but he caught his arm on one of the boards that were hanging over the edge. He broke his collarbone.
He determined at that point that, working out in the sites wasn't for him, and Cal remained in the office from that day on.
The scariest time is when you go in to see your banker on your very first deal, and you say, we need 50 or 100,000 in order to build the first show home, and then he says, oh, well, sure, we can do that, but we need the title to your house. That's scary, because at this point, you know you better not fail, or you're not gonna have a place to live.
He can do more on the back of a napkin than I can see accountants doing spreadsheets. It's quite amazing. He's got quite a memory and quite a mind for numbers.
The first year, we built 6 homes. That grew to a company that builds anywhere from 500 to 600 single-family homes a year.
This here is Santini. He's 6.5 years old, and his little brother over there is only 3.5.
We call them the attack poodles because, boy, oh boy, if you look at Cal the wrong way or make the wrong gesture to him, they're growling at you.
Hey! Oh, Jesus!
He takes them in the car, and they go every Sunday for a donut. And they know it's Sunday for some reason. I'm not sure why.
They're definitely his best friends.
Cal's legacy in the city of Calgary is going to be a man that was always, always so aware of those that were less fortunate.
One thing that Cal loves is the story of Ebenezer Scrooge and A Christmas Carol. Both Cal and Anita support that largely through Theatre Calgary, but he literally watches every version of that program every Christmas to remind himself about where he came from and where he is today.
He has done a lot, and the city's been good to him, and he in turn has been good to this city.
The Wenzel family is incredibly generous.
We built a famous 5 home.
It's a living, breathing exhibit, and it's very hands-on and very immersive. And I have Cal Wenzel and his family to thank for that.
I couldn't be more proud of Cal Wenzel. Cal Wenzel actually is the older brother that I never had.
My main credo is you have to work hard. You know, don't expect it to be given to you, and then once you've got some made, give it back.